Welcome to Chapter 3, Lesson 2, How to Perform eBay Market Research to Find Relevant Information from Your Competitors. For this lesson, we're going to go over good sellers and what is good information for each seller that we are following. Here we have a seller, and we will go over the statistics of this seller. This way, we can know if it's a good seller or a bad seller. If we can get product ideas or niche ideas from this seller, we can see if this seller is investing time in his listings, such as doing market research, or if this seller is just copying all items as well as titles from the place he is dropshipping. So first of all, I want to mention that all these stats are from the results of the last 30 days. Here, you may change the number of days that you are following. We select 30 days because it gives us a lot more information about the statistics of this seller. So now looking in the stats. Here, we have the sell-through rate. Active listings over 10,000, sold items 1,050, and we have the sales earnings, which is the revenue, the amount of money the seller generated in the last 30 days. Up in the top left corner, you can see the country and the flag where the seller is coming from. The feedback score for the seller is located right here. The successful listings are 734. And successful listings tells you that out of the 10,000 active listings, 734 successfully sold. And here we have the average selling price. A good thing to keep in mind when looking at these stats, they don't always have to be high for the seller to be a good seller. You can find great selling opportunities with any seller, but you should still be very selective in the way you look at things. Market research is very flexible. So even though the seller has a 10% of a sell-through rate, we can still find great selling opportunities. A great sell-through rate when looking at competitors is 50% or more. That right away tells you that the seller is doing something right. The second thing we should focus on after the sell-through rate are the sales earnings. The sales earnings can tell you if the competitor has maybe a couple items that he's selling, but at a higher price. Or maybe he's selling a lot of items, but at a lower price. And now for the average selling price. We're always looking for competitors that have at least a $40 average selling price. When the average selling price is high, that means this seller is selling items at a little bit more of a higher price. And the reason we like those items that are selling a little bit higher is because that means in the end, we'll have more profit. So based on these statistics, you can already tell if you found some great opportunities without even looking at the product list. Now let's cover the country of this seller. As you can see, the seller is coming from the United States. Now in the United States, you have a lot of different sellers. Some people might be selling from their homes, their own goods. You have some drop shippers using Amazon or Walmart, as well as AliExpress. Some are big suppliers. So it can be sometimes difficult to know when a person is coming from the United States if they are a drop shipper or not. But when we see a flag that's from Israel, Cyprus, Greece, Thailand, Morocco, Vietnam, Malaysia, and even the US, Lithuania, or even Bulgaria, those international sellers are most likely drop shippers. So those are some of the things that you need to take into consideration. When you do come across a seller from the United States, make sure to check out the feedback score. If it's a super high feedback score, it's most likely not a drop shipper. This is all something you need to take into consideration, but yet not make your decision based only on these topics. The bottom line is, the reason we follow competitors is to find products and niches. So when inside a competitor's profile here on ZikAnalytics, you will not use the stats to find the products or niches. What you will do is scroll down to the product list. So here is an example of a seller coming from Bulgaria. His average product price is $35.93. He has a sell-through rate of 5.29%. He has 189 active listings, and out of those 189 active listings, only 8 sold. He has an average feedback score of 3,948, and his sales earnings in the last 30 days are 359. Now, just because some of these stats are not that great, it still doesn't mean that you shouldn't go through his product list to check out some of the items that he's selling. There may still be some great opportunities for you. So now let's go back to our first seller and the items here. So now when in the product list of this specific seller, it can always redirect you to other sellers. And you can always do that by clicking on the scan title of his most sold item. We also want to take a look at the photos that he has for his items. And if we're using Amazon for this example, having the white background for each photo gives us the idea that this person is a dropshipper from Amazon. It's also very important to check out each of the titles and, of course, the number of sales. We also need to take into consideration the current price, which is the selling price for each of these items. The title of each product gives us information about the seller and whether he is investing his time in title building. For example, this first title here, based on these 3 dots at the end, tells us that this title has been copied from Amazon. So it's really important that you come across a seller who's actually investing some of his time in title building. That in return means that he's taking time to do market research as well. But what's most important is that these items are getting sales. If you see a lot of sales in the last 30 days, you'll probably want to investigate this item. You also want to look at the selling price. You can see that this item here sold 15 times in the last 30 days. Overall sales, 64. And it's selling for $57.95. In the next video, I will show you how to source the item from your competitors.